Hey guys, welcome back to the coding stuff, and this is the last part of our PDF Firebase tutorial series. And in this part we're gonna work on the download functionality. So in the previous part we rendered the PDF in this PDF viewer activity. So let's just have a look at the layout. Cool. So this is the coordinator layout, and anyways I'll provide source code into the description box, so you can just get the layouts from there, and if you have some errors you can also check your code with that. So this layout has one fab button which indicates the download, as it has the download icon. Cool. So we want to click on this button and we want to download the PDFs then. Cool. So what I'll do, I'll just minimize this lifecycle scope, as we already rendered the PDFs in the last part. So binding dot floating action button set on click listener, and here I'll call one function which will be download PDF, and here I'll pass the download URL and the file name. Cool. And then I'll click on this function and click on this red bulb and create the function. Cool. So it will create one function for us. So in order to download the files, Android provides one download manager. So let's just have one instance of that. So I'll create one late init var for download manager. This will be of type download manager, and we can initialize it over here. So download manager, this will be equals to, we can get the download manager with the help of get system services, and we want the download service, and we need to cast it as a download manager. Cool. So we initialize our download manager, and now we can use it over here, but I'll wrap it inside one try catch block. So the downloading stuff can throw the exception, so we'll catch it. So the exception, and I'll display one toast if we get any exception. So make text, context will be this, and message will be e dot message, toast length will be short, and lastly we'll call the show function. Cool. So inside the try block we'll do the downloading part. Cool. So we need to create one request in order to download any file. So I'll create one request. So val request, and this will be equals to download manager dot request, the capital R request, and this request takes one parameter which is URI. So we have the string download URL, we need to parse it to URI. So I'll create one variable which will be download URI, and we'll use URI function from the android.net, and we'll use this parse function, and we'll pass the download URL over there, and then we can just use this download URI inside this request body. Cool. So now we can set some properties to this request, like set the network type. So I'll set allowed network types. Here we can pass the download manager dot request dot network Wi-Fi, or we'll also allow the network mobile. So request dot network mobile. Cool. We also have one function which is set allowed over roaming. We'll make it false, you can make it true, it totally depends on the requirement. Cool. Then I'll set the title. So title will be file name, and I'll set the meme type. So set meme type will be the PDF, so application / PDF. Cool. Then I'll set notification visibility. Cool. So we'll be displaying the progress into the snack bar, so we actually don't need the notification that we get from the download manager. So what I'll do, we get some flags. So download manager dot request dot you can see, let me just write v. So you can see we got few options here. So visibility, visible, notified, visibility, visible. So this will be always visible, means throughout the download process, when it started until its end. then we have the visibility hidden. So in order to make this work, visibility hidden, I guess we need to add some permission kind of thing into the manifest, but we'll be not using it. We'll be using this visible notify completed, as we want user to see the notification when it is downloaded. Cool. Then the most important parameter or function, which is the destination folder. So we can set the destination in external files dir, but I'll be using the public dir as we will be saving it into the downloads function. So environment.directory downloads, and then we need to provide the subpath. So file separator, yes, file.separator. Cool. And then plus the file name. Right, so this is how we set up the request. Now we just need to enqueue this request in order to make it start the download. So we'll be using download manager dot enqueue, I guess, not the download URL. It's download manager dot enqueue function. We need to pass the request over there. Cool. Let me just create one variable here. So well, I'll just write it as p. And if you look at what this download manager dot enqueue returns, it returns long. So it is actually a download ID. So let me just change the variable name. So this is our download ID. With the help of this download ID, we're gonna figure out the process of the download or the percentage of downloading. So here we'll take a break from this download PDF function and we'll create one helper class, which will be I'll name it as a download progress updater. Cool. So in the constructor of this class, we're gonna take a few parameters. So the first parameter will be download manager. So private val download manager, this one. And then another parameter will take a download ID, which will be of type long. So this download ID that we get from this download manager dot enqueue function, so we'll pass it over here, and I'll create one interface here. So interface, and I will name it as download progress listener, and this interface will have one function which will be update progress, and he will have one parameter which will be progress of type long. Cool. And let's just pass this listener over here. So private val listener of type download progress listener. Cool. So we have the interface ready. So now the first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna create one variable which will be query, and this will be equals to download manager dot query. Cool. And then we'll create another variable which will be private var total bytes, and this will be equals to 0. Cool. So now we'll create one init block, and inside this init block we'll filter our query. So query dot set filtered id, set filtered id, and set filter by id, sorry. And in this we need to pass the download id, so the download id. Cool. Now I'll create one suspending function, so suspend fun, and I'll name it as a run simply. Cool. So we'll be running a kind of infinite loop in this run function, so that's why I'll be suspending it, because it can block or freeze the UI thread. So we're gonna do it on another thread. So in this run I'll have one loop which will be while loop, and here download id is greater than 0, and inside this loop first of all I'll put some delay, so delay of let's say 250 milliseconds. So actually this while loop will run too fast, and we want to display the progress or percentage of downloading into the snack bar. So by adding this delay it will look better. Cool. So then I'll write download manager we'll query it. Sorry, download ID, not download ID, download manager, and we'll use query function and we'll pass the query that we created at the top. And then we have one function which is use, and it gives us the cursor, and with the help of cursor we can get a lot of values from this download manager. Cool. So the cursor, he will have one check if this cursor can move to the first. So cursor dot move to first. If it is true, we will first initialize the total bytes. So total bytes equals to 0. So we only want to store the total bytes when total bytes is 0. Otherwise this will always reinitialize this total bytes, and we don't want that to happen. So total bytes, and this will be equals to cursor dot get int, and in here we need to pass cursor dot get column index, and then the constant which is download manager dot column total size bytes. Cool. And this is giving us error because we need to provide a range annotation. So yeah, range. And then outside this if block, I'll create one variable which will be download status, and this will be equals to cursor dot similarly get int cursor dot get column index, download manager dot column status. Cool. And after this we'll create another variable which will be bytes downloaded so far, and this will get it from cursor dot get int cursor dot get column index and download manager dot column bytes downloaded so far. Cool. So now I'll have one when block in which we will check for the download status, and here we'll have download manager dot status successful, download manager dot status failed, and we'll have the else part to it. In the else part we'll calculate the percentage of downloading. Cool. And from here let's create two constants for success and fail. So I'll create const val, I'll name it as success or status success, and I'll make it as 100l const, and then const val status failed, I'll make it minus 100l. Cool. So if the status is successful, then we'll call our listener. So listener dot update progress, and he will pass status success, and then we will return from this suspend function. I'll copy these two lines and I'll paste it over here, and this time we'll return status failed. Cool. And in the else block we'll calculate the percentage. So I'll create one variable, so which will be val progress, and this will be equals to bytes downloaded so far into 100 divided by total bytes. Cool. And then we'll call the listener dot update progress, and we'll pass the progress equals to this progress. Okay, we actually need to divide it by 100l. Cool. And we actually don't need these bytes downloaded so far in the status successful and failed, so we can just write that line over here. Cool. So yeah, that's it, and yeah, we can inline this into the when block. Cool. So now what we need to do, we need to use this helper class into our PDF activity. So at the top, what I will do, I'll create one private var progress, or we can name it as a download progress updater. We will make it nullable. So download progress updater, we'll make it nullable, and we'll give it a value as null initially, and then we will initialize it over here. so equals to download progress updater, and here we'll pass this. Sorry, we need to pass the download manager first, then the download ID, then this as a listener. Press Alt Enter to implement the functions, which is update progress. Cool. So when the downloading is started, we can make our progress bar visible. So visibility to view dot visible, and we need to call the function of the download progress updater, which is the run function. So run, and this will give us an error because I'll just make it. So this will give it error because it is a suspending function, so we cannot launch it from the main thread. So for that, what I'll do, I'll write lifecycle scope dot launch, and I'll launch it on the dispatcher.io, so the IO thread, and I'll cut this line, I'll paste it over here, and this will be happy. Cool. So now I'll create one snack bar. So at the top I'll have another variable which will be private let init var snack bar type of snack bar. We will initialize it over here. So snack bar dot make, and he'll pass binding dot the main layout, and then the message. So for now it's empty string, and then snack bar dot length indefinite. Cool. And we'll not call the show function over here, we'll call the show function just after launching this, or we can just call it over here. So snack bar dot show, or we can call it after calling the run function. Cool. Then inside the update progress, what we need to do, we need to show the progress into this snack bar. Cool. So here what we need to do, we need to create one lifecycle scope again, launch, and this time instead of dispatcher.io, we'll launch this into the dispatcher.main, because we'll get these values from the suspending function. So these values we are getting it from another thread, and in this function we actually want to display the progress into the snack bar. So that's why we will perform it on the main thread, because we are dealing with the UI components. Cool. So here I'll have one when block, and inside the when we'll pass the progress, and we will have the status success and fail, status failed, and then the lastly else part. Cool. So inside the status success, what we'll do, we'll call our snack bar dot set function, and here we'll set the message. So downloading dot progress $progress dot to int, and we'll make our binding dot progress bar visibility to gone, so view dot gone, and we'll also display the toast. So toast dot make text this, and we'll display the message which will be download successfully. We'll pass the length, so toast dot length short, and we'll call the show function, and we need to annotate the activity as well. So pdf your activity, and I guess I misspelled this, so successfully, and this will be happy. And now we will dismiss the snack bar, so snack bar dot dismiss. Cool. Now I'll copy these things and I'll paste it over here. So download failed. We actually don't need to set anything to this snack bar into the status failed, and here we can just write download failed. So now in the else part, we just need to set the text to our snack bar. So here we can write downloading dot and progress to int, and we can have the percentage symbol over here, and over here as well. Cool. Let's just remove this space. Cool, so I guess everything is done. Now let's just try to run the app and we'll see it's working or not. So now our application is installed, and let's just click on this show all button. Cool, so now I'll click on this research on machine learning, and the PDF is rendering. So yeah, it is rendered. Now I'll click on this download button, and you can see the snack bar and the progress bar. Actually something happened weird, so let's just have a look at our download progress update. So actually we made one mistake here, I guess, because the calculation is wrong. So let's just check our code in the download progress update. So yeah, the calculation looks fine to me. Bytes downloaded so far, and column total size. So I guess the mistake is over here. Cool, if you look at here, we initialize the value total bytes to 0. So initially it will check this condition, and this condition will be true. So there are chances that we can get negative value initially in this total bytes. So and when it is negative, this block will not get run again because the total bytes is not 0. So we just need to change this condition to, if the total bytes is less than 0 means it is negative, or it is 0, then we want to initialize this value. Otherwise, if it is positive, we don't want to initialize it again. Cool, so let's just try to run this again and we'll see it's working or not. So let's just click on the show all. Let's just go to this tab, and now I'll click on this download button. So now, yeah, now it looks fine. 0, 9 and directly 100 because I'm connected to Wi-Fi. And as you can see, this is downloaded. Let's just remove it, and let's just press back, and now I'll select this PDF and I'll click on this download button. 0, 16 and 100. Yeah, this happens too fast because it totally depends on the internet connection as well. So yeah, that's it for this video, and do subscribe. I'll provide the source code in the description box, so you can, if you have some errors, you can check with that. So yeah, thank you for watching.